Hello, everybody. My name is Sarah Filan, and this is an introduction to the Merry Mamas workshop. I am so looking forward to bringing this workshop to many different groups. And if you are interested in having me to do a workshop with your maybe parent and toddler group or any meetup group, please don't hesitate to get in touch. So I'm just going to show you a little presentation. And I'm just going to tell you a few different bits about Merry Mamas and its structure. So first of all, a little bit about me. My background is in primary teaching, play therapy, and life coaching. And I started out as a primary school teacher, and after a few years, then I retrained and I went into doing and studying play therapy and life coaching. And in that time, I worked with a lot of parents and coached them around, I suppose, really how to manage their children's issues and behaviors and things like that. And I really found, I suppose I got into primary teaching to help children. And I realized that, it's the parents that need help, as in, we have no hard and fast manual in terms of how to parent our children and what's the right way. So I started to realize that, it's the parents really need to be empowered and supported. So that's kind of what led me to working with parents in my initial background. And it was a great experience. And it really that's where the desire in me started, to maybe do workshops or to really, I suppose, coach and educate parents and empower them to be the best parents that they can be. So I learned that through helping to empower parents, their children greatly reap the rewards and the benefits. And at the moment, I'm currently working as a stress and trauma recovery therapist, and I also teach personal development. And the stress and trauma recovery side of things has been just such an amazing journey for me. And I was kind of led to this work. It was different stepping stones led me to it, but it is extremely rewarding. And I bring a lot of that work into the workshops that I do, especially Merry Mamas. I educate around stress and around trauma. We don't go too deep into it or anything like that, but it's just about sharing really valuable information and validating people's experiences, and also, helping them to feel that they're not alone in their experiences. So I teach a lot of personal development in the Merry Mamas course as well. And yeah, I'll be telling you more about that in a minute. So my passion is really to empower people in ways that help them to increase their self-awareness and their well-being. It's just so important to me. And I find this work really rewarding and I really enjoy it. So yeah, that's a little bit on me. So then about Merry Mamas. So I had the idea to create the Merry Mamas workshop when I trained to be a Havening techniques practitioner. I remember doing the training and I remember just thinking to myself, this is such an amazing, versatile tool that everybody can use, adults, children, everybody it is accessible to. And I kind of had the idea that, God, it would be great to, teach this to mums and then they can use it with their children as well. So not only are they catering for their own stress reduction, but they're also using it in managing their children's emotions as well, or helping and empowering them to manage their emotions and regulate them more effectively. So yeah, that's kind of where the idea grew, and from there it expanded, and I included lots more topics along with the havening, that would make life easier for mothers. So yeah, it's the thing about Merry Mamas is it's a very flexible workshop in that I'm constantly, catering to the needs of a group, but also it's a growing workshop in that I'm learning new things all the time and I'm adding to the workshop as I go along. So, it's packed full of really valuable education and tools and techniques to make life easier and increase your well-being and quality of life as a result. So the Mary Mama structure, there's 6 kind of pillars or chapters or themes that I include in the workshop. It is built around these different themes, and we go through each, I suppose there's a theme each week. While I'm, I also like to be flexible in that as well. So, you know, it's not it's not that we do matrescence in week 1. I do little bits and pieces, and I always kind of judge the needs of the group. So anyway, basically the first pillar is matrescence awareness, and this matrescence is a term or a label, I suppose, for the change from being a woman to being a mother, that process or change. And there's so many different changes within that process. So it's um, matrescence is compared to adolescence. And as we know, in adolescence, there's a lot of young children are growing into teenagers. There's a lot of different changes in terms of hormones and new emotions and new ways of coping with them. And it's the same with matrescence. So it's the process of becoming a mother. We are not necessarily, born mothers straight away and have all the instincts and the skills and all of that. We kind of grow into it. And just to say as well that, sometimes I have that kind of imposter syndrome because I'm not yet a mother. I'm really looking forward to being one, but it doesn't change, how empowering the education can be. And I've studied a lot around this topic, and everything I've learned has really kind of prepared me to feel more empowered, hopefully soon going into motherhood. Um, so then you have balancing the needs of the whole family. And this is really important. In my experience so far of delivering this workshop, I have heard a lot of mothers say, well, I don't put my needs first because I feel that my children's needs are more important, or the needs of the family are more important. And I know that from delivering the workshop, we have as a group started out where a lot of the moms, felt that they couldn't put their needs first. It was kind of something that they had to put, give permission to themselves for over time. And that's absolutely okay. There's nothing forced, or there's no recommendations made in this workshop whatsoever. This is very much take or leave whatever resonates, and sorry, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But what we did find was that as we went along, the moms felt more empowered to say, actually, no, I'm going to put time aside for myself and I'm going to look after my needs. And they found that the more that they did look after their needs, that their children were happier and the whole family was happier and everyone was a bit lighter. So it's also what I love about the process within Merry Mamas is, you have time to try out all these different techniques and come back and give feedback on it. And, you know, what we found as well was that there was some amazing success stories. And, if something didn't work, they could come back to me then and say, look, this didn't work out so well, and we would kind of do a bit of coaching around, right, what would work maybe, and go from there. So it's really important to balance the needs of the whole family, and that really takes the mother into account in a much bigger way. That would be the ideal, and I understand that there are situations where that may not be possible at times as well. And this is only really about kind of learning little small ways and small different, bits of time where you can put yourself first, or, where you can just even check in with yourself and check in with what you need. So then the third pillar or chapter of Mary Mamas is stress recovery. This is something I'm really passionate about because I would have, I suppose, reached the point of burnout many times in my life, due to many different kind of stressors, and really just a lack of awareness of even being stressed, if that makes sense. Um, so within the stress recovery team, I offer so many different techniques in order to, I suppose, cater to your body, because that's where we first really feel the stress. I know we have it in our minds as well, and there's things on our minds, but our body really suffers as a result of not knowing how stressed we really are. And that kind of takes into account the mind body healing as well. Those two themes really feed into each other. And when I talk about mind body healing, it's basically, healing that connection between the mind and the body. Because when we live very stressful lives, that connection gets fairly severed, and there can end up being a lot more disconnection, because when the mind isn't a very comfortable place to be in, when there's a lot of overthinking and there's a lot of perceived stressors and threats going on in your outside environment, then your body gets to be a very uncomfortable place. And what do we do? Only try to shut off from that discomfort. So I talk a lot about how we can start, reconnecting in with our body again, and treating our body with, compassion, and treating ourselves with compassion. And yeah, we discuss lots of different techniques around that. And it's a really healing way to empower yourself as well. Um, the fifth topic or fifth chapter pillar is emotional intelligence. And I think this is um, a really important element of Merry Mamas, because not only do we need to manage and cater for our own emotions, but when we have young babies and young children, they don't have the skills to cater for their own emotions. They don't have, the ability to regulate their emotions. And you have to be the strong and calm presence for them, to tell them that it's okay, and to show them that it's okay to have these emotions that they have, these big, strong emotions that they have no way of regulating themselves. So we talk about, first of all, I suppose, emotional first aid and looking after your own emotions first, and tools and techniques around that, and then how to pass that down to your children. That's the one thing about Merry Mamas, it's very much geared towards giving you skills and techniques that will not only empower you, but will empower the rest of the family as well. Um, so yeah, the emotional intelligence element of the workshop is very, very valuable. And also, it can be quite validating as well when we discuss our experiences with our emotions, because it's still something that society is developing, and only starting to come around to. And we're starting to see that avoidance doesn't really work. It only kind of exacerbates situations. So um, we're now seeing the real value of turning to our emotions and facing them head on as much as possible, even the uncomfortable ones. And by doing that, we bring about the nice, happy, the emotions we want to feel, the contentment, the fulfillment, the joy. So yeah, and then the last pillar or chapter of Merry Mamas is conscious connection. And within that, I, share a lot of information about different elements of conscious connection and how we can connect in with the others. And we talk about communication and we talk about boundaries and things like that as well, because they're all very valuable in relating to the people around us, especially our family, our children, our partners, whatever the case may be. And that is, communication is something that I have really educated myself on and put into practice. And I've done a lot of trial and error around that. And, I feel I've gotten a good handle on it over the last few years. So that is something that I really enjoy chatting about and giving tips or guidance on wherever it's needed or requested. So that's why I include that into um, one of the themes of the workshop as well. So they're kind of the main themes, and it's not an exhaustive list, though. There's lots of other kind of mini topics within that. And I'm always very open to being challenged in terms of, new topics or new things that are relevant. I love adding to the workshop. So that is something I'm very open to in the workshop as well, is if anybody has any requests to cover a topic, I'll go off and do my research and I will bring as much as I can back on it. And again, maybe do a bit of coaching around that, how it can work best for us or empower us. So the other side of the structure of the Merry Mamas workshop as well is that I can be very flexible according to the needs of a group, that may ask me to come and deliver the workshop. So for example, I have delivered it as a 6-week course, 1 week after another, or I can also deliver it as a 12-week course. So I can do fortnightly in-person meetups as well. And in the 6-week course that I did, it was a mother's group with babies that weren't moving around. So I was able to give the presentation without too much movement or distraction or anything like that. And the moms were able to they were able to listen, and there wasn't too much missing out on anything. But I can also deliver the workshop in the way of I can send a recording prior to the meetup, and then at the meetup, where you might be having a cuppa or whatever, we can sit down and discuss, whatever resonates from the presentation that week and what learning you're taking away, and what might have felt validating for you or maybe didn't resonate, or if you've any questions. So, I hope what you take away from this is that it's very flexible according to the needs of the group. And that's the way I like to work. I like variety. I don't, there doesn't have to be a very rigid structure to it. And yeah, and eventually I am hoping to have the course fully online as maybe a self-study course that you can just purchase, or also maybe a coaching program that we can, look at together. And they're all kind of ideas that are bubbling at the moment for me. So when that comes to life, I will share much more on that in time. So the Merry Mamas benefits then, um, I was having a think back and trying to kind of gather all the benefits in, as a whole, and it's hard to name them all really. There are testimonials on the web page, and they give a really good overview of what the moms got from the workshops. But in general, what I observed is a happier mom is equals a happier family. So this workshop will benefit not just the mom or yourself, but your whole family. When a mom is feeling strong and empowered within herself, she is so much better able to be the mom that she wants to be. So that's where that comes from. Um, you would also get increased awareness of how big a change becoming a mother is and the many different processes that take place, which possibly made you feel like an altogether different person. So when you become a mother, you are a changed person. There's no doubt about it. And there's so many different changes to life, and they can be hard to process, especially when there mightn't be a lot of time to process. So that's why increased awareness can be really empowering, in that, this will give you a little bit of time to reflect and to kind of take whatever learning can be taken from it. And also, will help you to kind of come up with any actions around processing those changes or integrating those changes into your life. Um, what you will also get from the group is acknowledgement and validation of how challenging motherhood can be at times, and the things we may lose or sacrifice to be the best mothers that we can be. And I think above all the benefits that you get, or that I've seen the moms get in the group, this is probably one of the biggest ones, because it was sometimes really heartbreaking to see that the moms that I met in the workshops were struggling with feelings of, I'm the only one that goes through this, or, I'm not a good enough mother, or whatever the case may be. There's a topic that we go through which is called the perfect mother myth. And that was very enlightening. Um, or has been very enlightening to bring up as a discussion, and to bring up, sharing the different feelings around that almost need to be the perfect mother. And, it can be very validating to hear that perfection isn't always achievable, and we don't have to be the perfect mother. The good enough mother will do absolutely fine. And sometimes we need to hear that from others in order to give ourselves the permission to take that on board and to live it out. So that's probably one of the biggest shifts or changes that I've seen take place or happen in the workshop. And then finally, you will have connection with others that have experienced the same ups and downs of motherhood. So you might make new friends, or you might already know the people that you're coming to the group with, but you might deepen your connection with them. And also, another thing that I saw happen in the workshop as well is that the mothers deepened their connection with their family, and deepen, when you are able to show yourself more compassion and understanding, I think you expand your capacity to be able to show compassion to others and understanding to others as well. So that was a really, really big benefit of the workshop as well. And there are lots more that I've probably not included here, but also just to say that, I could go on about this workshop forever, and it's really an experiential thing that you have to experience the workshop to know, to really feel the benefits. So who is Merry Mamas for? Mothers of all ages. It doesn't have to be just new mums. It can be mums, with children of any ages. I actually brought or invited my own mum to be at the first Merry Mamas workshop, and she seemed to get a lot from it herself, a lot of validation. And I'm well grown up now at this stage, so it was fabulous to see her to get so much from that workshop as well. And she was also a great help in providing the teas and things like that. And she was really the mother of the group, which was fabulous. So it really, like, it can be for mothers of any age, and it can be for grannies, and also dads are welcome as well. Um, I know it's called Merry Mamas, but it is centered around mothers and mothering, and the different changes that mothers go through. But that is only just the matrescence part of it, really. There are so many different things that dads would take from this workshop as well, in terms of the emotional intelligence side of things, and the stress recovery side of things, the mind body healing, and the connection. Like, there's loads that dads would get from it as well. And they would also maybe really be able to feel into the experience of the moms as well. So lots of benefits to be gained for dads too, and they're most welcome. So I hope that I've covered any questions or, given you enough information on the workshop. But if I haven't, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can email Merry Mamas at marymecentre.ie, or you can call or text 087 1748 648. So I hope you have enjoyed this little presentation. And if you are thinking of, bringing the workshop to your group or anything, I'm really looking forward to making that connection with you. So that's it. Take care for now.